Hello guys, do you want to know how to shoot a 75-year-old camera? Yes? Well, how convenient, because I have one here. This is the Balda Baldinette made in 1950, and let me run you through how to use it. So first of all, we're going to need to take the actual camera out of its leather casing. Here it is. Where's the lens, you may ask? Well, we'll get to that. We will need to load up some 35mm film. Open up the camera with this little knob right here. This is where the film goes. Just kind of smush it in there. Hope it holds. Looks good. Now we will need to press this button here to unlock this film winder. We will need to get the lens out of the camera. Here it is. We need to activate the shutter by pulling this little lever right here. Now we can change our shutter speed right here. You can see it right here. This is where you change the aperture and you focus it in front of here. It's a nice little depth of field scale back here. And let's take our first shot. Let me just measure the light real quick, what we need to shoot at. This camera does not have a built-in light meter, so we will need to do that manually. And now we take our first shot. Wait, let me focus this actually. Now we take our first shot, and while taking a picture, you have to remember that the shutter button is on the wrong side of the camera. They put the shutter button over here instead of this one. This one is the button to get the lens out of the body, and this one is the actual shutter button. So remember that. Actually kind of convenient for me because I'm left-handed, so it's actually the right hand for me to shoot with. Okay, let me take another one to make sure that the film is all loaded correctly. So button pressing, winding the film, shutter enabled. All right, I've never been to this location before, so I don't actually know what we're going to find here, but there's supposed to be some sort of old mine back there that I want to check out. There's just some nice forests here, so let's go on a walk.
This camera was actually made by a German company. It was released in 1950, then built roughly throughout the first half of the 1950s, and it's now the oldest camera I own. There's an entire on-set of issues that comes with that, we'll get into that later. But from what I could find in my research, even when this camera was brand new, it was considered more of a budget-friendly, entry-level type of camera. And even in their wildest dream, the people who built this camera back then probably couldn't imagine this camera one day being used to create YouTube videos. But how well can a budget-friendly camera from over 70 years ago hold up to the demands of a modern social media audience? Well, let's find out.
Come on, dude. Give me some sunlight to work with. Oh, that's inconvenient. I just realized that if I put my light meter on here, this is the button that I need to press to get the lens out of the body, and I'm covering it up. It's not too great. So I guess I'm gonna have to leave that in my pocket. F8, I should be fine with this focus. To remember to actually switch it to F8. Come on, give me some sunlight. Where's the sun right now? Oh, we're about to have sunlight. Actually, let me just cut that off. I forgot to. Man, I always forget to enable the shutter or press this button down here. This camera is pretty time intensive to shoot, and you need to remember all of these steps. It's definitely a slow shooting camera, but with this camera being as old as it is, let me just show you some of the modernizations I've made. You can see I've added this little thing back here, so usually you can't have any sort of neck strap or wrist strap or something like that on this camera. There's no sort of place to mount it. Usually it's meant to be carried in this leather bag. You can see there's a strap back here. So usually you're meant to always have this in the bag and carry it around like that. And usually I would always recommend that if you have a camera with a bag like this, then you should use it, because it also helps prevent light leaks in case the camera is somewhat broken. I've definitely had some other cameras where it was a big help to have a case like this, but in this case I don't want to use this, because I'm telling you, this is the most disgusting thing I've ever touched and smelled. Like, it smells, I mean, it's old, and I mean, it smells horrible. It's sticky for whatever reason. I don't want to touch this too much, so I'm getting rid of this. And instead, down here you can mount this camera to a tripod, and I've screwed this little screw in, and then you can mount a wrist strap to this screw right here. It's just a 1/4 inch, I think. And of course you also need to have a light meter, because this camera does not have a built-in light meter. So you can just have one that you mount on here like this, but then as I just discovered, you can't actually press the button to get the lens in and out of the body, so I will just have this in my pocket and pull it out when I need it. And then once you're done taking a picture, just fold it away like this. Super compact, easy to carry around. Let's take some more pictures. What is this over here? So apparently there's this, like, the Romans built this. Well, let me get a shot of this. There's no way it's that bright, man. Yeah, I'm very pleasantly surprised by how cool this location is. I think you can expect me to shoot a lot more over here, because this is a bit closer to where I live, to my hometown, and it's a nice wide open space with little people and nice nature, so I think this is the perfect location for my videos. Stay in there, please. Thank you. A few not so nice things to talk about. So I bought this camera on a flea market. Actually, it wasn't even that cheap. I think I paid 35 euros for this. So but I bought it from, like, the least trustworthy guy you've ever seen on a very suspect flea market, and it's a 75-year-old camera, so I absolutely didn't trust that this thing still worked. So before filming this video, to make sure that I'm not filming this and then it turns out this camera doesn't work, I shot a test roll. I shot a roll of Fomapan 200 black and white film to make sure that this camera still worked. And I was very surprised by how well it worked. Like, the images are surprised me with how good they were. Of course, the lens isn't the sharpest I've ever seen, and there is some limitations we will get to, some limitations in terms of what shots you can actually take. But for the most part, the images were at least good in terms of you were able to recognize everything I photographed. And that's actually nice. So there only was one very, very major issue, which is scratches on the film. Some of those pictures were so scratched that you actually just can't see what I photographed. And that's a problem. So that could be an issue with the film being damaged in manufacturing, but I've shot many rolls of Fomapan 200 now, and I've never had an issue like that. It could also be the film lab damaging it while developing the film. That's possible. Or it could be a problem with the camera, which I hope it isn't, but realistically it might be. One thing I did see though is that really the only pictures that were scratched really bad were the last 10 shots of that 36 shot roll. So to try to counteract that, today you saw me load up a roll of Kodak Colorplus 200 with 24 shots. I'm hoping that maybe that can fix that issue, prevent those really scratched images. Maybe that's just a problem with 36 shots rolls not being good for this camera. I don't know if that's actually a thing. I might be completely wrong here, but nowadays most of the film you can buy is either 36 or 24 shot rolls. But whenever I receive one of those old cameras like this one, sometimes the previous owner forgot a roll of film in there, and that's oftentimes way smaller rolls, like 12 shots, 10 shots, something along those lines. And I'm thinking that maybe back then when this camera was built, it was more common to have small rolls like that, and maybe that's the reason why this camera isn't really built to handle those big 36 shot rolls. I mean, it's pretty small, so maybe it just doesn't fit in there correctly, and that's why the last few shots get scratched. I might be completely wrong here, but I'm kind of hoping that I'm right, because if that is the case, then I can just only stick with 24 shot rolls and avoid those issues altogether, and that would be nice.
Editing's get good here. Later in this video there will also be some color pictures with visible scratches on them. Luckily it never got as bad as it did on the black and white film. And it also once again only happened towards the end of the roll, so I still kind of feel like I'm correct with my idea, but if you have any more expertise, let me know in the comments how I could avoid this. Luckily the pictures aren't like completely ruined, but you may see some scratches.
Alright, good news, I found the mine I wanted to get to. I don't know if mine is the correct word. Steinbruch. I don't know how you call it in English. I'm gonna start off just with a nice and simple picture of this wall right here. I'm gonna always need to measure the light with my DD light meter, because this camera doesn't have one. Make sure my settings are correct. So I want to shoot this at 100 f16. 116. That's looking good. Wind the film. Shutter engaged. Need to step a bit more back and hopefully don't fall into the hole.
It looks like I accidentally turned this one into a double exposure, so I guess that's possible to do with this camera as well. That's fun. Looks like I forgot to wind the film, which is not possible with every camera, but I guess it's possible with this one.
Right, there's a nice little crevice in here I want to catch. And that also looks pretty cool, so let me see. So in terms of lenses, I'm working with a 50mm f2.9 Schneider-Kreuznach Radionar lens. The brand I've heard of before, so it seems to be a good brand for making lenses. I mean, the lens is decent, it's just very small, so what would I expect of that in terms of image quality? It's still good, but at least from the roll of black and white film, like compared to something like my Canon or A1, of course, that blows it out of the water. But it's still like super decent. At least on the black and white film. Let's see how the color film turns out, and I think on color film it's also going to be easier for me to actually compare what we're working with. I want to go for like a vertical one here as well. How many shots do I have? I hope I reset the shot counter on top of here, because you have to do that manually and I can't remember if I did. Also, when I loaded up the film earlier, like right after I stopped the recording, I also got super scared that I might not have loaded it correctly. Now I can see that I did, because, well, I'm gonna come closer to the camera and show you. Wait a second. I've already given this tip in another video, the video about celebrating 1 year of film photography, but I'm gonna give it again. Look at this spinny thing here when I wind the film. Should be spinning. Always make sure that it does on your film cameras, in case any of you guys are new to film photography watching this. It's gonna save you from a lot of pain at some point. But yeah, when I first loaded up this roll, it didn't, and this film is so loose in this camera, like it does not feel secure at all. So I'm kind of scared that I may have issues there at some point with film getting lost in the camera or something like that. So far, luckily no issues were had. I did wind the film already. I also need to remind myself that I did wind the film, because I think it's possible to skip frames on this, an accident. At least I believe it's possible. I think I already took the shot, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Well, not really any reason to take it again. How far back can I get? 50mm is a bit too punched in here to get this scenery. All right, I think that one should have worked out nicely. So with this camera being like entry-level, budget-friendly, there is a few things that you're gonna need to compromise on, of course. So the first one is the viewfinder. Just gonna come and show you once again. This is the viewfinder. This is how it looks from the back. You see, like, it's extremely small and extremely hard to see anything. And of course, that's not the best experience, but when I first bought this camera, actually, it was also completely brown, like there some sort of dust or water had come in there and completely clogged up the entire viewfinder. The inside of the viewfinder was so dirty that I couldn't see anything through there. One tip there, I actually managed to just unscrew some of the screws on top of the camera, and you can actually just take this entire top plate off very easily, and then you can access the inside of this viewfinder to clean it. And now it's basically in perfect condition, mine one. So I just cleaned all of the dust, and I think some sort of water got in there and left some marks, but I cleaned all of that off and now it's great. But still, even in perfect condition, you're still having issues with this camera, just kind of like, yeah, not having the greatest viewfinder. The next issue we're having here is that this camera doesn't have any sort of mirror, so you can't see through the lens while you're taking your pictures. You can't see if your images are sharp that way. You also don't have any sort of built-in rangefinder, so no way for you to measure how far things are away from the camera to focus based on that. What you do have is the focus scale on the back of the camera that I showed you, and then on the front lens you have markers for different like distances. So right now I focused here on the 6 meter mark, 3, 2, 1.5, 12, infinity, and that's basically how you focus this. You set your aperture that you want to shoot at, and then you check on the back the depth of field. You kind of guess how far something is away from you, or you have a measuring tape, but I don't have, or of course an external viewfinder, which also I don't have, and then you just kind of guess and you shoot, which is not all too easy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to take somewhat of a close-up of these flowers here. You can't take too much of a close-up since this camera only focuses down to, I think, 1.2 meters. So that might just be enough. I already want the film, I believe. 1.2 meters. Now, how far is that? I think like this. But yeah, with pictures like the one I've just taken, which I have no idea if this is going to be sharp, it's a bit tough to like get it in focus without a built-in rangefinder. And I also kind of want to take some more close-ups of these rocks around here, but I just don't know if this camera is going to be the one that's going to be able to do that. This might even be a spoiler alarm for a video coming up soon, because I think I'm going to come back here very soon with a different camera I bought on the same flea market, which does have a built-in rangefinder, which is going to be the first camera I ever shoot with a built-in rangefinder. The camera has an entire own set of problems you're going to find out in that video. But I do think I want to try that out here and try to get some more close-up type of shots of these walls around here, which look pretty cool. I just don't think that this camera is going to be the one. And now I'm gonna walk some more in that direction where there's just some nice forests. Let's go for it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, taking a look at this compact, very old but still very impressive camera. I for sure had a good time shooting it. Let's hope that the pictures reflect that and that I don't get disappointed by how the pictures look. But I mean, I kind of know what this camera looks like, so I'm sure it will be fine. Let's hope we don't get any scratches though. I'm also pretty happy that I actually checked out this location. My mom actually recommended this to me, and so far I've never made the time to actually come here, but I'm glad that I finally did, because I like it here, and I think you can expect some more of my videos to be shot here very soon. Lately I've kind of been struggling to find nice locations near where I live, and you guys may have noticed on my channel that I have been trying to travel some more, get to some more faraway places and get some nice images and videos and just some nice spots to record. But yeah, you can travel all the time, of course. But in fact, when this video comes out, I should be in Croatia. I'm trying to pre-produce some videos right now, so I have something to upload while I'm not home. But I should be recording some videos in Croatia at the time this video releases, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that video shooting my first rangefinder camera in the spot. I'm planning that right now. I'm coming here. But yeah, as I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it. If you liked the video, leave a like. And now we are reaching the outro screen part of the video. So I'm gonna have over here, up here, I'm gonna have the playlist with all of my film photography videos, all of the other cameras I've tested, all of the other film photography I've done. And then down here, I think I will just let YouTube decide what they think you may like. So yeah, click on either of those stuff. If you like this video, you're gonna enjoy that as well. And I will see you in the next video, hopefully pretty soon. Hopefully I will have pre-produced enough videos to have an upload soon.